He made his NASCAR debut here in what was the Busch Series last November, started 17th, finished 20th.
He was actually 29th quickest earlier in practice at a 29.14. This car is locked into the show.
It just walked up the hill big time. It bottomed out. That thing did a little turkey walk right up the track.
Now this car is locked into the show based on where David Rudiman brought it in the point standings prior to Rudiman getting out of this car, moving into the 44 to replace the now retired Dale Jarrett in the UPS car. There was some talk of whether the team could switch points.
Whoa, guys, whoa. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I have never seen anything like that in my life.
He hit that wall a ton.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael's moving around in the car. My goodness, that car just hooked, went straight in.
It did that hook and go up the hill, man.
And that was a incredibly hard impact into the safer barrier.
Look at that safer barrier right there, how it just crushed all that stuff.
That is good, though. That means that thing moved.
It's great. It's just incredible how hard it hit.
And then the flipping helped the car dissipate the remaining energy, parts flying off it.
Look at that.
Oh, thank goodness. And a wave to the fans.
My goodness.
That says so much for these race cars. It says so much for what these racetracks have done with this safer barrier. That is unbelievable.
And he walked away and waved to the crowd.
My goodness. That was unbelievable. I haven't seen a wreck like that anywhere lately.
And certainly not with these cars. I've never seen one of these COT platforms take a hit like this.
Let's take a look. I think you're going to see him get loose the minute he turns down into the corner.
Yeah, and he's just, man, and that thing just absolutely.
I will guarantee you that impact was well over 180, probably 185 miles per hour. We've already seen 199 or better getting in there going straight.
That's a part of the racetrack.
Gosh. I can't even hardly watch that.
It's a part of the racetrack, but Murray said was a little slick getting in. Not knowing if Michael changed his line a little bit, got a little too much into that speedy dry.
Oh, my Lord.
But that he walked away and waved to the crowd while walking to the ambulance after that impact is a great testament to safety of these cars and these racetracks today.
If there's been any fans, if there's been anybody in our industry that has questioned the car tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this guy that walked out of that race car just a few minutes ago.
That is unbelievable.
And the whole place here is silent. People are just stunned by what they have seen and now seen several times on the Sprint Vision big screens. But look at the driver's compartment, Darrell. Look how intact it is, how there's no deformation of any kind to the safety capsule where the driver is.
And you know, Michael McDowell, a lot like his car owner, Michael Waltrip, is a big boy. He's very tall. That car tomorrow is about 2.5 inches taller in the greenhouse area than our old car and about 4 inches wider, and all those are great things.
An incredibly hard crash for rookie Michael McDowell, but the best part, he walks away with a wave. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Michael McDowell with a horrifying crash from which he walked away. Speedway and NASCAR safety officials now looking at the damage to the safer barrier. That steel outer wall is bowed back almost a foot as workers begin picking up the remains of the foam blocks that separate and help absorb the impact between the steel part of the safer barrier and the concrete wall.
Well, you know, Mike, I've said on a number of occasions, I don't want to see anybody get hurt in one of these cars by any means, in any race car really, but I just always have been curious as to they sold safety with this car. Well, it just proved everything they ever said about it right here in this one incident. I'd questioned a number of times until I see this car take a bad wreck. That's as bad as it gets right there.
Absolutely. We call this the safer barrier, steel and foam energy absorbing system, energy retention system. And look at in slow motion what happens to the barrier in stop action here.
See it move? The old concrete wall, she was not going to move.
No.
And that's what this safer barrier is all about.
The safer barrier and the COT, or Car of Today platform, all designed to have areas that will absorb energy so that it is not transmitted to the driver.
I mean, I know the term soft wall has been used a lot, but that barrier is a steel barrier.
Yes.
It's just the fact of that foam and that thing moving upon impact. That's what makes it a safer barrier.
Now here you see in the tan jacket NASCAR President Mike Helton. In the light blue shirt, that's John Darby, head of the Sprint Cup Series. Vice President of Competition Robin Pemberton, facing camera almost in the tan jacket there.
Sure,
trying to work out
what the options are. Yeah, what options we got here. And that's a question I don't have, because I don't think I've seen one of those sections get bowed like that.
We've seen the foam have to be replaced. I'm not sure we've ever seen one of the actual barriers outside of the foam damaged that way.
Not during a race.
No, not during something like this. But one of the things that this makes me realize is that we sit up here, and I know the fans sit down in the stands, and we say, hey, they just went 200 mile an hour down into turn one. And we say, and it's casual. It's like, well, 200 miles an hour. That shows you what happens when you have a problem at 200 miles an hour.
Jack Roush looking on, the cat in the hat, who has his cars have the two fastest speeds thus far, Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth.
Really not surprising. You know, we've had 14 races here with 13 different winners. You know, we've had 14 races here with 13 different winners, but Roush Fenway, as we see the remains of Michael McDowell's car on the rollback, Roush Fenway, they have won 5 of those 14 races, actually with 5 different drivers.
Right. You know, the other thing that just amazed me about this car is how it tumbled, how it just took off and started rolling and tumbling down the racetrack the way it did.
I think, Darrell, we're going to find that that's a function of the angle of impact and the way it tossed the car away from the wall. Because realize that as that wall deforms inward and absorbs energy, that there's also a rebound effect to it.
Yeah, rebound.
And the way that car was tossed off away from the wall, I think pretty much contribute to the way it tumbled.
Well, this car will be a really, I'm sure they'll take this thing back to the R&D center, and this is something that they can analyze it even further. And you know, we talk all the time. I think back to Vegas when we were talking about there needed to be a safer barrier in that opening on the back straightaway. We say it every time. Safety's a moving target. Right. You don't nail it and it's done. You're always a work in progress, and this particular race car will help that work continue.
I believe they do have recording devices on board these cars.
Yes.
I know they do in the race. We'll check and see if they do in qualifying. So NASCAR will be able to measure the impact force that Michael McDowell sustained when that car went into the barrier.